Welcome to Now Serving a Side of Therapy, your intro guide into the therapeutic world. Together, we'll explore various aspects around how to show up for ourselves and others by tending to our own mental and emotional well-being. I'm your host, Dalton Huckabee, a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'm grateful you've joined me. All right, so today we are sitting down with someone who wears a lot of hats, and she wears them well. She's the founder and force behind Izzo Marriage and Family Therapy, and the one who had the vision to build a practice that's just as grounded in heart as it is in clinical experience. Anna isn't just the founder, she's the reason Izzo exists. With a background in therapy, business, and a deep commitment to access and equity, she spent years creating a space where both clients and employees can thrive. From shaping the way we think about mental health in our communities to making sure the whole team feels supported every step of the way, Anna brings authenticity and boldness into everything she does. Welcome, Anna, to our very first episode, part of our podcast.
Thank you, Dalton. I'm grateful that you took the initiative to put this together. I think it's going to be awesome for people and clients. So, yeah, thank you.
Sure thing. Yeah, we have lots of ideas to share,
Yeah.
right? There's no shortage of ideas. So
Yeah.
looking forward to just, kind of helping get the word out to people. It's the idea of it is like a client's intro guide to therapy.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Knowledge is power.
Yes. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So I thought what we would do today is to kind of talk about Izzo Marriage and Family Therapy.
Perfect.
And first of all, maybe if you could just start by describing like what is Izzo Marriage and Family Therapy?
I have a very big passion in supporting children and families, and I noticed that it was very difficult for me to tackle that obstacle alone. And so I started Izzo Marriage and Family Therapy as a way to help as many children and families as possible. You hear often that there's no greater love than like a parent has for a child, and yet there's so many disrupted parent-child relationships that we want to be sort of a one-stop shop safe haven for families that want to improve their relationships with each other or just have a better understanding of how to support their child, and for their child to feel confident and learn ways to grow their own self-identity and in a positive way. When I started in therapy practice, I quickly realized that there's a lot of barriers to treatment for children. And a lot of people, I worked with 70 other clinicians, and I was like one person that would work with children. People have a lot of feelings about, trying to navigate the complexities of families and parents. And, it's a lot more complex. And so people can find that they feel less effective when working with children. And I was finding that I was having a lot of success in supporting families and children. And I also couldn't, I was working as much as one person could possibly work. There were weeks where I had 45 sessions, and I knew that there's other people like me that want to help children and want to work with families. And there's such a great need that I just decided, okay, we're going to find more people that love working with kids and are comfortable working with family units and help as many people as possible.
But also adults as well, right? But it also seems to center around the San Mateo County.
Yeah,
Initially,
exactly.
the birth of Izzo centered around the San Mateo County.
Exactly. Yeah. So I lived in San Mateo County, and I was pretty well acquainted with the system in San Mateo for low-income families, and also just the general kind of children world. Like I worked with pediatricians, I worked with the court systems, I worked with doctors' offices, in schools. But and so I really understood that like this is a really, really big need. And, just focusing on San Mateo County alone, we've had, 135,000 sessions in the last 5 years, which obviously that's not something any one person could do. So, the need is just so clearly there. And I'm really proud of the team that we have of people that are like, yeah, let's get in there and help. Um,
And so you
and
built Izzo over the past 5 years.
yeah, we started technically in March of 2021. But I had my own private practice the year before that. And so, technically it was started when I started my practice, but then it grew into the company that it is now, a for-profit organization type of thing, starting in March 2021. So 4 years, actually, with 135,000 sessions. I don't think I could say more about
It's an
how,
amazing feat.
amazing it is, and also how deeply it's needed. And that's just in one county, so
Mhm.
we're happy to help in other counties too. We just are slowly, making our way, and getting our word out and helping people know that we exist. And one thing is like we all are trained in helping everybody. So yeah, our clients are not only children. We can help individuals, couples, family units, and children. So
Yeah, and we'll
we
do
just
both. You
have a
offer
lot of kids.
in-person and telehealth sessions,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
both are available with
yep.
the
Both are
advent, right?
available.
Thank you, COVID, right? That really kind of exploded
Yeah,
this
yeah,
telehealth onto the scene.
yeah, totally. And it's really nice because, the 56% of the population sought therapy last year, and we only have something like 32,000 therapists, MFTs in California. Like, we need as many people as we can get, and that allows us to hire clinicians that are they're excellent from all over the state of California. And, now suddenly, like, we can provide more services and reach more people that way. And then, we're also, we have a lot of systems set up. So we're kind of picky about who we're allowing to do telehealth. If you're a child or like under, 11, I think is our kind of rule of thumb. We're not going to suggest telehealth to you, but it's a great option for people that it suits, that would be suited for it. So
That may otherwise have challenges, right?
getting into the office,
Yeah,
or even just finding a local therapist, or we have almost 80%. I think it's over 80% of our clients are children, and that can be hard for parents to get them to appointments and minors, and so it just opens, I think, a lot of doors and creates a lot of accessibility that wasn't there before. And the other piece of it is in 2020, before COVID, that was the first time ever that we've been allowed, therapists have been allowed to have an entity like the one that we have right now. It wasn't even, it was written in law in ways that clinicians were not able to form a group like what we have. And so I think there's been a lot of advancements in the understanding of, mental health and accessibility, and a lot of red tape is finally kind of lifting. And so it was this perfect storm of this perfect time of, oh my gosh, people are more depressed than ever. Kids are struggling more than ever. Families are struggling more than ever. It's COVID. And, and we have this opportunity, and people need jobs, so let's get clinicians work. Let's get families paired with clinicians. And it was just kind of it had to be done. I
Mhm.
woke up, I was like, I have to do this right now. So yeah, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, I'm really fascinated, right, by the fact that you, from your own personal interests, right, found this need in the community, but then also like built it up from ground zero, right? Like you said, over the past 4 to 5 years to what it is today. And
Yeah.
then now it's like really outreach, services have been outreached into the community, and we can serve, like you said, predominantly San Mateo County, right? But also reaching out to other parts of California with
Yeah.
the advent of telehealth. But still, just the fact that you kind of identified this and it's just grown, and
Hmm.
you said like the quality of services has continues to grow, and
Yeah.
it's just I personally am just really blown away by
Yeah.
by how you were able to put all that together. And
Yeah. I mean, I did not do this alone by any stretch of
Mhm.
the imagination. I had a lot of support along the way, and a lot of help. And, today, like, I love our team. I love our admin team. I love our clinical team. Like, we, I'm, I'm blown
Could we
away.
maybe like rewind a little bit, like maybe
Sure.
some of your background too,
Yeah.
as to like what kind of prepped you to getting to that point?
Yeah. Sure. So I'll start kind of with recently and then kind of work my way back a little bit. But I mentioned before, like I worked with 70 other clinicians in a nonprofit, and I had 45 clients a week, which, you're considered full time as a clinician with, you know, 15 to 25 clients, possibly. People call themselves full time with 15 clients, right? So, um, and I was double that. And I will say too, like the average in that company was, 10 sessions a week was what people are required to do in that company. And I was at 45. And that's not including parent collaterals. And these are mostly kids, um, children, young children, 2, 3, separation anxiety, uh, foster homes that were reunited with, I mean, very complicated stuff, but really, really passionate about it. Really, I saw this email go out to the company, and it was like 6-year-old ADHD, and immediately my mind's clicking with all the different things that means. That means that this child is getting negative feedback from the adults around them. This child is struggling with emotional regulation. Parents are struggling to understand how to help their child regulate, and this child may already have or will 70% more likely to have depression than someone without ADHD. So all this is running through my head, and I'm like, oh man, I hope someone can help that kiddo. We got a big team. I was feeling really, uh, hopeful that someone was going to help. And then it was like maybe 3 weeks later, someone wrote me specifically and said, can you take this child? And it's like, I have 45 people right now, like not including parent collaterals. I try to meet with parents once a month. Like,
It's
I
like, did
was
you have a day
really
off?
distraught. Yeah, no. And I was distraught though. Like I was like, and it
Mm,
hurt my soul to say no, because I know I can help, and I know I can just imagine what that family is struggling with and how quickly like we could help them, but I could not take another person. And at that time I was like, there has got to be more people that can do this besides me. Like maybe these are, like I want to connect with anyone that would be like that could do it, you know? And
mhm.
so that's when I really like it hit my gut that like this has to happen. We need more help. We need more people to help. And I will find them. Whatever it
And
takes.
so that started the journey, huh?
Yeah, so that started the journey. I would say, me working with children though, I'm the oldest of 7, and not by a year or two, like 7 to 17 years. My youngest siblings are 17 years younger than me. The closest sibling to my age is 7 years younger than me. So I had a lot of experience, and I have a very complicated family dynamic. And so I have a lot of experience with different types of families, raising children, many different personalities and that kind of thing. And then when I got to college, I responded to an email or a Craigslist ad that was like, ever want to be a fairy princess? And I was like, I sure would. So I started working as a children's magician, and I could not have imagined how helpful that would be for the work that we do now. As a fairy at a child's party, you can't say no. You have to be very positive. You have to set boundaries in very positive, constructive ways. I love that job so much. And it gave me just incredible skills. That means I called these families. I confirmed all of the details. I showed up. I did met all of their expectations. And then I went to the next party, and it's a lot like working with a family, when you first set up that initial appointment, when you call them, when you go over the policies, when you go over all of that. I just had lots of experience with that. And then, when parents have all kinds of fun requests that I can't necessarily meet, it's very similar to, when we're working in therapy and we need to familiarize parents and people with the process. There are limitations to how much I can do, and how to talk about that in a positive, supportive way. Super helpful, really great experience. So I would say those are kind of the building blocks that set me up for this. And then in college, I studied business at first. And so that also gave me some confidence that I know how to do a business plan, and so that
very
allowed me
important for
to,
building a business. Right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I just remember professors over and over, like, you cannot do anything without a plan, and it's like pulled out my business textbooks and going down like, okay, a business plan includes all these pieces. Okay, I have them.
One of my earlier therapists said, if you don't, those who fail to plan to fail.
Yes,
Like, whoa, that's pretty straightforward.
yes. And never forget, the best laid plans go up in smoke, right? So
Right.
there were a lot of those moments too.
Is that right?
Gave myself no other options, and we just continued to figure it out. And what I found really cool too with this team that we have is not only do we have excellent clinicians, but I found that most of the people that are here, I would say like everyone here is really aligned with what we're doing, and what the goals are of kind of, like what we're trying to do. And that has given us a lot of resilience when there have been some pretty rocky times, and people stayed, and people, just super supportive, very humbling.
A lot of that has to do with this kind of laying this foundation of values.
I'm always just, I guess, like both humbled and impressed when we hire someone and I meet them for the first time and they're like, I just love this value that you have. And I'm like, oh, you noticed and you love it. I love it too. It's like awesome. It's a really cool moment. We have our 6 little values that are small but mighty. And I think they also correlate a lot to what we try to teach our clients, and help our clients achieve in their own relationships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so you have your values are, you said you have quality.
Oh yeah. Quality,
grace,
humor, collaboration, integrity, and personal responsibility. And a lot of what we're trying to help people with is improve their relationships. And the foundation of a lot of that is attunement, how to respond appropriately to emotion that someone is expressing. And, I want us to be a, what is that called? Trauma-informed practice, right? And having a trauma-informed practice means that we are responding to appropriately to others, to create a sense of safety and a sense of, safety, but also like limits, boundaries, right? Our values really show how to do that. And
especially for clients, right, when they're first searching out for therapy, right?
yeah,
They themselves are a little bit kind of distraught, right? Maybe dysregulated and not knowing where to
dysregulated.
start.
Yep.
Mhm.
The hope is that just from the very beginning, we can model for people like this is the healthy way to be treated, and just do our best to maintain that throughout every interaction and be that, that healthy parent attachment example.
The
Um,
model, right?
the
Model
model,
to, uh,
exactly. Modeling. Yeah. Yeah. And so, I mean, although most of like all of our clinicians are trained in attachment and attunement and everything like that. But we've also spent a lot of time training our admin team on exactly what that looks like and how to do that. So it's just super thorough throughout all of the different levels of administration and in the company. So yeah, I kind of think of it like, okay, quality. Well, what do we want to do as a family in general, right? If people in their heart of hearts, they would want the best relationship they could possibly have with their kids and with their parent. And so that's high quality. So that's how quality got on there. That's like the end result is a quality experience or quality relationship. Grace is part of that, is similar to how attunement, how we want to respond is to respond to someone as if they're doing their best. We give them grace, right? And so even if there's a mistake, like I'm going to go into that believing that this person was trying to do their very best, and then that leads to kind of integrity, respect them as they are, not as what I expected or ways that disappointed, but then also bring in personal responsibility. Like I'll be the first to acknowledge if I may have done something that was not helpful, that did not set this person up for success in that way. At the same time, it's mutual, right? Like, oh, someone else can then come in and feel safe to say, oh, let me correct this. Let me fix what's happening or whatever. And at that point, we can collaborate. What's the best way to do that?
mhm.
And just kind of listen to each other and respond to what we're hearing in the here and now. And then in the end, it's all resolved and we get to laugh about it. It's a mistake or not. Maybe it's a praise, right? Like, and we can then just, celebrate the accomplishment that we just made. Yeah. And I think humor is really important. I know that's one of your favorite ones too.
Yeah, yeah. I like to just, break the ice with some dad jokes for sure.
Those are awesome. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We're about to have our baby shower. I have to get that for my husband. Oh
Oh, there
my
you go.
gosh.
There you go. I mean, you've said before, right, with how humor can actually like lead to this aspect of strength under
Oh yeah.
transcendence.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, happy to. So I think resilience is one of the most important qualities that we can have to survive. It's integrated into the fabric of humanity. If we could not be resilient against whatever is happening in nature, like we wouldn't survive. So it's very much, I think, aligned with just human nature to be resilient. And the most kind of quintessential strength that a person can have that shows resilience is transcendence, which it means the ability to rise above the situation that you're in. And if you can use humor in a challenging situation, I mean, that is just a huge testament to your resilience and how you're able to overcome, and you've just overcome whatever it is. Like the moment you use humor, you have overcome it. And so, and I think there's that piece of sometimes humor can be used to harm, which is not what I'm talking about. I'm
Hmm.
talking about, this like putting it into context in a way that is non-threatening and funny, and like, you've really risen above the worst part of whatever the experience is. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know even from my own history of seeking out therapy and even working with clients is we kind of come in like this like frozen or rigid state. So to think
Mm-hmm.
that we could even adapt humor as a value just kind of seems way out left field, right? It doesn't even
Yes.
seem possible initially.
Yes, totally. Yeah. And I think, you're speaking to also, the different ways that people respond when they feel threatened. But I, I, once you get in the room, once you start talking, like there's little moments that are funny all the time,
Mm,
and so it's
mhm.
just kind of slowing down and, working on your present, right? Not thinking about the future and the past, like in the moment, and like, oh, that was pretty funny actually. And so, yeah, sometimes as a therapist, when people are telling me these stories, and yeah, they feel very emotional, and I would say my rapport with clients is they understand that I really understand the depth of what they're feeling. And at the same time, I might just start laughing all of a sudden because I'm like, you realize that maybe that thought is just so wild, right? And then you can build on it and make it into like this joke, which would be an intervention, catastrophizing. And so if someone's catastrophizing, they're like, oh, this situation is so bad. And then you start adding things. Yeah. And then, maybe the ground could break open and then you could fall in. And then all of a sudden there's a giant sinkhole. And then, you know what I mean? And it's like, you just kind of keep building on this worst case scenario situation. And then we're
Uh-huh.
laughing, and it's like, okay, you know what? That's actually, the world's not going to end because my pencil broke while I was taking a test and I had to get up and go sharpen it. It's like, that's actually okay. My life's not in danger.
Right, right.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then,
yeah. I was thinking of an example recently where it's like, take for example someone who might be kind of harsh on themselves, right? Kind of
yeah,
self-judgment, right? And
yeah,
even if they're cooking and they drop something on the floor, right?
yeah,
It'd be like, and they get upset at
yeah.
themselves,
How could I
right?
do
And
that?
I was
Yeah,
like, and I was thinking, just purposefully drop something else on the floor and then say,
exactly.
oh no,
Yes.
I did it again, right?
Oh,
Just go there with
yes.
it.
Yes. And that reminds me of one of my most favorite moments. I have a lot of favorite moments in therapy, but I was working with this little 4-year-old and he hated losing at games bad, really, really bad. And
Mm,
I was like, okay, so we're gonna play games until kingdom come, right? And I knew it was I knew we were done when we were playing Uno. And it can be really upsetting to have to keep drawing cards. You have half the deck in your hand, you still have no card to
right.
play. And he's 4 years old. And then I see him pick up the card that he could play. And he goes, oh man, I still didn't get it. Oh, I gotta get another one. Let me get another one, right? He got it, right? And all of a sudden we're just both cracking up. I'm like, yeah, maybe you need another, right? And just like I'm picking up cards, and now the game is about fun, right? And it was just really cool to see how, like that idea can be applied even just in the most simple little like way, of so just go farther with it, do it worse, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and
And
then
so really integrating this aspect of play therapy into how we learn things in therapy.
okay, yeah, so I would love to talk about that too. So
Go
in
for it.
play, in play, it takes like, let's say at most 60 repetitions. If the mind is calm and playful, 60 repetitions, you're going to have shifted how you think about something. And if you're just telling somebody, okay, you do this, like a lot of schools are set up with that, with math, right? You just repeat 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4, right? On and on and on and on. And that can take, hundreds, up to 100 or more repetitions in order for that lesson to be absorbed. But if you are in a playful state, your mind is much more able to integrate new information. And yeah, and that's also why I love working with children, because their minds are much easier. They access that place much easier. And so it's really fun. It's fun to help them understand a new concept and watch them understand it. It's really cool. So, so yeah, that is the benefit of play therapy. So when you hear play
Nice.
therapy, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about, we're going to make sure we're having fun and playing, and we're going to teach a lesson in the playing. Yeah.
At the end of all this, right? To everything kind of talked about today, it's like, well, what are some things that people can have like as a takeaway from this like practice in their own
Mm.
lives? And so I like to kind of go to this place of values, right? How can they practice values in their life, and they get to identify what those are for themselves too.
Mhm. Exactly. Yeah. I totally agree. I would say, um, a couple things. We live in a very individualistic culture, which does not support relationships as well as a collectivist culture, for example. Now, there's a lot of
Correct.
beautiful things about individualistic culture. That said, obviously we're struggling with attunement if most of our population is struggling with attunement, and that is the ability to relate to each other appropriately on an emotional way. So if, it's important to have boundaries, which is that personal responsibility piece. Like, I'm going to take accountability for myself. Other people need to take accountability for themselves. But if you base your values around attunement and building connection with others, then you'll also be able to identify when someone is not being attuned to you, and you could say, hey, that's crossing my boundary. So, it's attunement is not always just accepting how someone else is feeling, and it's also being attuned to your own self, like, hey, that doesn't feel good. So yeah, you could look up a list of values, and you could take 6 of them, and you could have somehow figure out another way to apply them to attunement. And that's also really empowering and can help people a lot with understanding what kinds of relationships they want to have, instead of just feeling like they have to accept whatever relationships they're being given. And yeah, that also builds confidence and resilience.
Mhm. Yeah, and one of the things that really I get jazzed about working with clients is how they respond to others is how they are with themselves, right? So if they can kind of tend to
Totally.
this place with themselves on the value, kind of this value basis, right?
Yeah.
Then to watch clients be with themselves in this new and different way, and how that affects their relationships in this qualitative way that we're talking
Yeah.
about,
Yeah.
like that for me is just like,
It's amazing,
it
right?
is. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, those aha moments. Yeah,
Those
that,
aha moments.
yeah, and the wall comes down, and it's like, oh, that's why I did it. And even in my own therapeutic experiences, like journey, it was like, what would you say to your best friend? Right. That was asked of me a lot. And I'm like, well, I would say this and this and this. And then it's like, so why are you telling yourself something else? It's like,
Right?
oh, you're right.
Busted.
Yes, yes, totally.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
yeah, I totally agree.
Nice.
Very, very
Well,
cool.
this was great. Yeah, thanks for your
Yeah.
time. Yeah, really
Thank
appreciate it.
you for
Got to
your time.
understand, right, about what is Izzo marriage and family therapy,
Yeah.
right, and how it came about, and the importance of it,
Mhm.
of who Izzo serves within the
Right.
community, right,
Yeah.
and yeah, any closing thoughts that you wanted to
Yeah.
add?
I guess I just wanted to elaborate on one thing. I know I mentioned that we're a for profit, and I think it's important to just mention that a little bit more about that. That allows us to have the freedom to take care of our clinicians in ways that a lot of nonprofits can't, because there's a lot of red tape around how nonprofits need to act and function. And, just also acknowledge how much work each of the clinicians that are in this company have done and contributed to being where they are. And, how it's very hard to be kind of, to have all this training, to have all this knowledge, and then to have to sign up for, almost poverty level salaries, right? So, yeah. So I just, in supporting the company, you're also supporting what I would consider to be like ethical and high quality jobs for people that are in the company. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, super important, right? Because like you said, Izzo as a practice has both associate and licensed therapists, right?
Yeah.
And so for any of
Yeah.
the associates out there, right, that are looking for a place to kind of like work on those
Yeah.
hours and
Come
get
on
that
down.
experience, right?
Yeah. We need
Yeah,
you, our clients. And if you love working with children.
yes.
Yeah.
Or even if
Yeah.
you're already licensed, right, and want to hop on
Yeah.
board too, right? That's
100%. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I would encourage you to apply. So yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again for your time today. And
And thanks
who
for the
knows, maybe you'll
question.
appear on
The
another
conversation.
future episode. Never know.
Ooh, that sounds fun. Well, thank you, Dalton.
All righty. Thank you too.
Thanks for tuning in this week. Be sure to check out our next episode as we continue to explore more elements of your therapeutic journey.